various types of drugs. Some are conventional drugs that you know, and some are unconventional drugs. Some are substances that you know already, and some are substances that you don't know. So when we talk about drug, we cannot do without giving it a definition. So for the purpose of this lecture, I want to define drug as substances, either chemical or in natural form, which when taken into the body, it alters, it changes, it modifies the way your body works, the way your system works. And this modification could come either in a positive way or in a negative way. For example, if you take cigarettes, they are socially acceptable. Nobody will arrest you. Nobody will charge you to court because you are taking them. It is not banned by government, but excessive use of them causes a lot of problems, not just for you alone, but for people around you. For example, when you take alcohol and drive, you don't only endanger your life, you endanger the lives of people in the vehicle, the road users, and everybody around you. Because when you take it, it will alter your mood, it will alter your behavior, it will alter your sense of reasoning. So that is why we say, when you take socially acceptable drugs in excess, it constitutes to drug abuse. So we also have drug. You're sick, you're taken to the hospital, and the doctor asks you to take Panadol, paracetamol, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 in the evening. You decide on your own to reduce it to 111, or you decide on your own to increase the dosage. That is drug underdose or drug overdose. That constitutes to drug misuse. So now, there are no kinds of drugs. We are talking about teenage pregnancies. There is no child that is born that does not have a dream to be great. But our greatness sometimes is being hampered by our association, what we call peer pressure. The people we move around with, our friends in the schools. So when we mix up with friends that we are not supposed to mix up with, we are introduced into so many things. So there is no child that wants to, female child, that does not have a dream of getting married, putting on wedding gown, walking down the aisle. There is no child that does not have that dream. But most times, our dreams are being shattered. It comes through rape. And how does this rape come about? Most people that rape don't just want to rape, they do it under the influence of something. What of kidnapping? We are all humans and we have feelings and we have conscience, we have rationale. But when we take the drug, it takes off the way we reason. We don't reason normally again. We don't think the way we should think again. It dreadens our conscience and makes us very, very unable to presence of a child, in the presence of the whole family, what happens is the perpetrators do it under the influence of drug. So this teenage pregnancy, everything that has to do with we beings, all crimes are perpetrated mostly under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of drug. Sorry. So we have various kinds of drugs here, and these drugs can be taken through various forms. You can see the inhaling type from the screen. This is how they take inhaling substances. Most of these drugs here, like cocaine, we have the cocaine here, which is being inhaled. We have the crack, we have all of them here. Then we have these dissolving solvents.
in Nigeria, the one that loves those children. Can you make some noise for the mother of state, Dr. Mrs. Betsy Obaseki? A sweet and loving mother indeed. Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, shall we please rise? First for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We'll take a verse, and next will be the Edo State Anthem. And while all of this is on, we'll invite our mommy, Reverend Dr. Mrs. Christian Jemoran, to please move closer. So immediately after the Edo State Anthem, we can have the opening praise. So Mommy and Jemoran, please move closer so the national anthem doesn't catch up with you. Please come closer. Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Officially, we're about to begin. And so DJ, get ready. The national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is now. Still standing, the opening prayer. Reverend Dr. Mrs. Christie, the General.
Eternal Rock of Ages, the God of all flesh, the Creator that was not created, the first and the last, the beginning and the ending, and the end without an end. We give glory to your name, that in Edo State, our eyes have seen, our ears have heard, and we have tasted your goodness, and we are still tasting your goodness. To you be all the praise, all the glory, all the honor, all the thanks, all adoration. Father, in a couple of few years ago, about 4 years ago, you gave a vision to your daughter, our first lady, and she bettered the vision you gave to her. And today, Lord, we'll be celebrating the evidence of this great vision. Betsy Obaseki, women football team. We have gone higher, even to international world. Father, we give you the praise, we give you the glory, we give you the honor, we give you the thanks. We celebrate this. Thank you, because this legacy will remain forever. In the name of Jesus Christ. Father, today we are here to still learn in progress of the football team. We ask God that all the lectures and the talks that will be given shall be a blessing, most especially to our younger ones, oh God, our tomorrow governors, our tomorrow presidents who are present in the house today. We say thank you for blessing them with a mother who have the heart, the feeling of the children at heart. We say thank you. We say thank you. We say thank you to the government of Edo State, our governor, the wait and see governor, our governor of Obaseki. We thank you for his life. We thank you for the life of the wife who is the mother of the state. We give you the glory. We thank you, oh God, for the crew of first ladies from different states gathered in Edo State today. We bless them. Thank you for bringing them in. And at the end of the whole program, you are taking them back home safely. With this we say, to you alone be glory forever and ever and house of this grace, say it louder, amen.
And somebody excited, give the Lord a round of applause. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, it is my singular honor to welcome you to the seminar section for the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament, the fourth in the series that is helping the young girls to blow their talents and also to be discovered the world over. And this event is no longer national, it has gone international within the record of 4 years. Participants from other countries are already in Benin for this tournament. Can we put our hands together for the Vision Bearer Excellency, the First Lady of Edo States, Dr. Mrs. Betsy Obaseki. Our sisters, First Ladies of various states are here, current and past. We'll get to meet them shortly. But let me warmly welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, the First Lady of Ogun State. We welcome Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Claudiana Sawolu, the First Lady of Lagos State. We welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Tamoromi Makinde, the First Lady of Oyo State. We welcome Her Excellency Eyawa B. Otu, the First Lady of Cross River State. Please warmly make welcome. Her Excellency Mrs. Titiola Adeleke, the First Lady of Osun State. Please warmly make welcome. We also warmly acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency Mrs. Gloria Nwoye Diri, the First Lady of Bayelsa State. We welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Agi Agu Kefas, the First Lady of Taraba State. Her Excellency Aija Adiza Uma Namandi, the First Lady of Adamawa State. Of Jigawa State. Please warmly welcome her. And of course, among the former First Lady, we have immediate chair of the Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum, Erelu Bisi Adeleye Fayemi. A round of applause for Her Excellency, the former First Lady of Ekiti State. We warmly acknowledge the presence. We welcome you. We also acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Martha Emmanuel, former First Lady, is also here with us. Her Excellency Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola, former First Lady, is also here with us. Oyo State, please acknowledge. Osun State, thank you so very much for your presence here. We also welcome Her Excellency Martha Udom, former First Lady of Akwa Ibom State, is also here with us. We warmly welcome you. Her Excellency Mrs. Nioma Okorocha, the former First Lady of Imo State, is also here with us. Her Excellency Linda Ayande, former First Lady of Cross River State, is also here with us. Her Excellency Mrs. Sharif Oborewori of Delta State has been represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Humanitarian, Dr. Mrs. Uduaga. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome. We'll get to meet all of our very distinguished guests as we get along. But first, let me invite for the formal welcome address, Her Excellency, our mother, Dr. Mrs. Betsy Obaseki. woman with an uncommon taste for good things that loves Edo. Can we please rise to our feet to make Her Excellency welcome?
Thank you. Thank you. The day is fast spent, so I'll be very brief. Do sit down. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me join the MC patrons to warmly welcome my beloved sisters who have come from different parts of the country, sitting and former wives of governors, always supporting one another. Whilst introducing, I'd like to mention that Dr. Mrs. Norman Rochas Okorocha was the former chair of the Southern Governors Wives Forum, founding chair of the Southern Governors Wives Forum, and she taught us many things. We had called our forum Sisters Without Boundaries, and Sisters Beyond Boundaries. That's what we were called when she was our chair. I still call her my own chair because that was the foundation, the founding time of this glorious sisterhood that we all share. To think that governors' wives who are no longer governors' wives still have a bond. We actually have our own forum as a result of the way that we work together closely as sisters, regardless of party affiliation. Because all of these women sitting here are not PDP. Governors' wives, they are more APC than PDP sitting here. Do you understand? In spite of what just happened in Edo State, we have them here, former and current APC governors' wives, who have come to solidarize with their own sister. All we know in this forum, as current governors' wives and former governors' wives, is that we are sisters, and no one and nothing can separate. Politics cannot separate us, party will not separate us, our husbands will not separate us. We remain sisters for life, sisters forever. This is the evidence and the proof. And I love each and every one of you. God bless you all abundantly. And let the world see that this is what life is about. And let the younger ones learn from the older ones. That's why I always like to bring the old and the young together. You must learn from the older ones and keep the torch burning and keep the sisterhood together for all time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Some of them are regulars, and some of them who have told me gender-based violence, which is a flagship project of the Nigerian Governor's Wives, and it was headed actually by Mrs. Fayemi when she was chair. And then the first year we deliberated on girl-child education. So this year, there is a project that the South Governor's Wives began to embark upon, and it was birthed by Ambassador Nkoye, like I said to you. She had this bird, came and shared it with two of us, myself and Mrs. Diri of Bayelsa. And we identified with it, and we decided to come together as a forum to begin to find solutions, ways to intervene as states with the problem. And it has to do with teenage pregnancies. We found that it's becoming a problem in Nigeria, especially in the South, because we've suffered militancy, a lot of militancy in the South for many, many years. Human trafficking also is another culprit, and Edo State was #1 in the whole world for human trafficking. Thank God now Edo State is out of the radar, no longer mentioned as one of the prime states. So these are the culprits: human trafficking, militancy, banditry, Boko Haram, and some cultural practices where young girls, and there's some traditions in this country where they give out even babies as wives, and young girls as wives, waiting for when they are old enough, and the men take them, most times in their 20s, and put these children in family rape, all kinds of things happen. Some can't give birth, and they have issues around what we call vesical vaginal fistula, VVF. I'm sure you heard about that, and all kinds of medical complications. But a lot of the problems we see that bother us is that a lot of these young girls are exploited in the course of all this militancy and banditry activities and human trafficking. The girls are exploited, impregnated, and abandoned by the men who have impregnated them. And so we have children carrying babies, having the burden to carry babies and look after babies, bring up babies when they themselves are practically babies. And it's a serious problem. And we found that in some cases it becomes like a cycle. It happens to a child, and it becomes like a generational problem. You find that the mother also had suffered something like that, and if you don't address it, that child, that baby born, will also suffer the same fate when she gets to her teens. So it is a silently growing pandemic that must be addressed. All of the issues around it, the things that cause them, we have to begin to talk about them. And there's a lot of poverty in this country. They say Nigeria is one of the poverty capitals in the world, and that also makes people vulnerable, makes families sometimes sell their children, give them out to men, for money, send them out, to look for money, and they get raped in the cause of that, and they have children, no education, all of that. All of these issues around the increase of teenage pregnancies, adolescent mothers, and abandoned children is a big problem that we all have to begin to address in Nigeria. And that's what we are here to do today. And my sisters are all here because whatever we do here with this tournament, we always tie it to what the Governor's Wives Forum is doing, is addressing, one way or the other. So this whole seminar is to help the South Governor's Wives Forum, who have adopted this as a project, to kind of jumpstart or kickstart the project. Tomorrow morning, only the South Governor's Wives and their commissioners will have a technical session to bring it down and deliberate on it and produce a communique which will be taken to the Brest Commission. The Brest Commission is the South Governor's Forum, with the intention that the governors of the South region, pay attention to it and support their wives to fight this problem. The way that the Nigerian Governors Forum supported us under Erelu Fayemi as chair of the forum to address gender-based violence. When we started, we had only 12 states that had domesticated the VAP law. And 1.5 years into our coming together and fighting this problem, we have, I think, 34, 35
getting imprisonment. I mean, lots of cases, people who are being caught, tried, and imprisoned as a result of that. So you see what women can also bring to the table. When you have wives in government, this is what happens. Wives don't just sit down doing nothing, especially governors' wives of nowadays. Look at us all, educated, enlightened, civilized, active women who bring a lot of value to the table. So I say to Nigeria, do not allow continued marginalization of women. Okay? So that's where we are. And so our resource persons will handle that. We have Professor Okonofu. Are you here? You're supposed to be here. How come he's in the back? This is one of the world-renowned professor of gynecology and many things. And he's an international scholar. Happens to be a professor emeritus of the University of Benin, and very supportive of our work here in Edo State, especially mine. So he will be here as a gynecologist and a humanitarianist and everything to talk to our girls. To talk to our girls. I have Dr. Aladeshili here, who also wrote a beautiful book that's valuable for children. I'm hoping to buy some copies and send to the schools. So without much ado, I'll hand over to the microphone to the speaker, MC, and thank every one of you for coming. We'll be quick and brief and finish here before it gets dark. Thank you all so much.
I think she deserves another wonderful applause. The most prolific First Lady in Nigeria, Dr. Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, thank you very much. I'd like also to very quickly welcome Honorable Barrister Maria Edeko, Deputy Speaker at Edo State House of Assembly, former FIDE Chairperson, former Commissioner, a great woman. Once again, we can't stop thanking the Right Honorable Dr. Anthony Isaac Bemi, State Chairman of the PDP. We appreciate your presence. Honorable Dr. Uyodua Malaka, Honorable Commissioner for Arts, Culture and Tourism. Honorable Mrs. Christabel Omoeku, Honorable Commissioner for Social Development and Gender Issues. Thank you very much. Olympian Yusuf Ali, Executive Chairman, Edo State Sports Commission. Can you give this man a round of applause? Four-time Olympian, as a great man. We appreciate you. We welcome all other top government functionaries, permanent secretaries, heads of government MDAs. We thank you all for your presence. I would next invite the keynote speaker, but not until I welcome all those on the panel of discussion for today. Professor Friday Okonofu. Please warmly applaud him. We thank you. Reverend Sister Dr. Mary Agatha Osareko, EAJ. Please applaud her. Mr. Kali Alumano, here represented by ACN EKF Young. Thank you also for coming of the NDLEA. We also acknowledge the presence among them, Dr. Mrs. Stella Idehe. We thank you, and of course, Mrs. Kate Bello. You get to hear from them shortly during the panel of discussion. But next, I'd like to invite to deliver its keynote address, Ambassador Unkoyo Toyo. Ladies and gentlemen, your hands together for her, please.
Jesse. Excellencies and very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. The day is fast spent, and I think we want to be as business-like as possible. And so please forgive me if I go straight to the point of the day. It is my honor and privilege to thank you, Your Excellency, for asking me to be part of this journey. It is indeed a remarkable one, and when you see Erelu, BC, and many other people who have been on this journey for decades, and Professor Friday Okonofu, who has done this subject matter and hasn't read Okonofu before, then you have not done this subject matter in Nigeria. Back in the 1990s, this was one of the brightest minds in terms of the issues of adolescent and reproductive health. So we are indeed honored to have this assembly, and I will not try to talk about the subject matter since the experts are in the room. What I have decided to do is that I've followed the work of the governor's wives a little bit. I've followed the work of BC Erelu Fayemi when she led the governor's wife, and looked around at the work on GBV and noticed how in Edo State in particular, more than any other state, there was a strong understanding of the subject matter. And because of that strong understanding of the subject matter, I decided that my topic today will be, what's the Edo model? Excellency, why did you decide on football? Do you ever think about it? Has anybody else asked the question, why football? Why female football for that matter? And it's been a thing that has engaged my mind in the last 1 week, and that's why I'm saying it is a model. Let's look at it, it's really a model. So we want to ask ourselves, what's this model about? And it's going to be a very brief presentation. What is the model this woman is presenting to us? What I can tell you is that the model also mirrors what we are trying to do in the rest of the South-South region. And therefore, without saying much, it is to say to the wives of the South-South region, is this probably the model you want to take and run with? Is there something about this model that gives you a reason to want to leverage on it? We learn from many parts of the world. We don't only learn from ourselves. There's nothing like new learning. Learning is a continuous. Only a fool will start something from zero level. Most people will look at what other people have done and build on what other people have done. It is oftentimes in Nigeria when you say, learn from other people, no, I know my own. Sadly, that's not, you don't know that much. That's why there's something like plagiarizing. A lot of people do plagiarize. So why this model, and why am I speaking from this perspective? So I thought the model was very unique, and I said, let me take it from there and begin to talk about it. Next slide, if I can have you talk to me. So I said, what are we really talking about here? We're saying that in many communities across Nigeria, but more importantly in the South-South, because she was, and herself and Dr. Diri have been extremely excited about the prospects of what we are beginning to see. Militancy and the culture of doing things by force. Men are doing things by force on girls a lot in this region. Cultism, this, that. It is, if you know what I must do, that kind of thing. Even before the girls themselves have the consents, the knowledge and the ability to be consensual about the relationship that they are getting into. This region is known for that tendency to, for the men to do that and get away with it. The problem is different, and the North is a little bit better, a lot more, because in the case of the North, the girls are married into this relationship. And so you can ask for some level of male responsibility. But in the case of the South-South, it's my turn, or I should have it the way I want to have it. And if you go to many hotels, many points in the South-South region, it's just a point of engagement and just getting more and more young people pregnant even before they understand the responsibility. So it's many communities and families where girls become pregnant or have a child, her health, her education, her earning potentials, and her entire future may be in jeopardy. Now think about it for a moment. Somebody steps in and says, let's do football. The moment you say, let's do football, wow. Me, do football. Think of that poor girl in the village, in the community, and wherever she is. Suddenly you are presented with a possibility for the future, a potential for the future. I was just speaking to Anne as I was coming on the flight, and Anne said to me, my young daughter is a little bit difficult. She likes to be on the phone all the time, blah, blah, blah. And the coach who is teaching her older sister said, get her into sports. It will take her attention away from where she is and bring her attention to the place where you want it to be. This is what Betsy Obaseki has done, provided with a model. This is a model. And this is the model that holds them down. If you succeed to hold them from 13 to 14 to 15 to 16, you are likely to win the race and keep them going. But if you let them lose that momentum, and they are not in school, then 1 year spent in pregnancy, another year spent in nursing the child and everything, of course the jeopardy steps in, and you trap them into a life of poverty. Now, what is unique about the discussion I have been having with the wives of the South-South region is that the problem is not that they are looking at one generation of a child who is pregnant. Check her mother. Her mother was also impregnated. no father, nobody to take responsibility. That child she has given birth to, check, is likely to end up the same way. So how do we break the cycle? How do we break the cycle? So the model that we are talking about is a model which football gives us an insight into what it is. Now let me quickly say, preamble, that a lot of people ask us, who is a teenager and why are we worried about these issues, and why football and why all of that. Of course, I've explained that football takes people from vulnerability to purpose. It takes people from hopelessness to a direction. It gives people, I mean, look what she's done with it over the last 4 years. It's moved from not just being a national event to becoming an international event. So the girl who gets into football already knows, I may be playing in Europe tomorrow. I may be playing in one of those big, this thing. It doesn't matter whether they don't get there in the end. You're keeping them on a journey and on a track. Next slide. Who is a child? Who is a teenager? A teenager is somebody under 18. Many will doubt, what is 18? Why the magical age of 18? It's important to know that that's the age where these children are transiting, and I'll just go to the next slide on that. Please, next slide. The age where they are transiting, next slide, I said, please. Let's just go. Yeah, so they are below, no, I think you have moved too fast. But basically, this is where they are beginning to form into a size that is good enough to take over some of the problems of being able to be a mother. Many of them cannot be a mother at that age. Now, given all of what we've heard, why is this important? Please, Excellencies, thank God you are all here. Why is it important? The next generation, 10 years time, if you open this room, and you can already see it here, turn your back and see what you see. Heads and heads of young people. These are the people who get pregnant, not the people in front. These are the ones that would impregnate the ones that will get pregnant. Tons and tons of it. Africa is a young nation, as we know. Nigeria is even a much more younger country, as we know. So these people that we are talking about are just going to multiply in numbers. So the question is, what do we do? Do we just watch these numbers multiply? So we're dealing with a problem. We're dealing with one that on scale is really, really a huge problem. As a matter of fact, one statistic says that in between 2010 and 2030, we would have moved by about 6.4 million of these adolescent mothers. Now, bear in mind that being a mother is different from being pregnant. Many of them may have been pregnant and terminated the pregnancies and all kinds of things that happen. And just begin to think, in this economy, what kinds of terminations are going on. I mean, this economy, the choices children are making to terminate pregnancies in this economy must be, you cannot even begin to think of what they take. You don't want to think about what they take to get into that situation. So, in the end, we are all saying that this teenage problem is huge and we must deal with it. So what did she do? She moved basically to say, let's do something about it. Not only did she bring her wealth of experience in the private sector where she knew that economic empowerment is important, the work which she did with the governor's wife threw up the questions of rights. We didn't used to think about rights and gender equality, but when we talk about gender equality, people come to here, you want to be a feminist, all of you are gay, you people are LSB and all of those things that excuse me, if the girl does not have the ability to say, please, I don't want, which is a function of gender equality, remembering that she as a person has a right to say, no, I don't want this relationship. That is where gender equality starts. Even you as a big woman in marriage, the day you don't want, you cannot say no. That is where gender equality starts. And that is the challenge. When we disparage the questions and the arguments around gender equality, we are basically saying it's okay to accept anything just because you're a woman. But if you can say it is not okay to accept it because I'm a woman, then you begin to see the importance of gender equality as part of this. So basically, if you look at the things that she has done, when she arrived here, she was thrust with a case of a girl who was killed in a church or something like that. So she was forced immediately to react to a problem. And it was not about reacting to a single problem. Hello? It was reacting to a chain of activities. And so you saw the model starting with an incident, and the incident gave birth to many and many and many more positions. What many have failed to do with gender-based violence is we treat it as one strand, when in fact it is multi-layered. And that's the beauty of football. If you're in football, you ask, are you going to school? Are you exercising? Are you eating well? Do you have your health in place? You know, all the things that you will normally not take into account when you are dealing with a young person. So, let me end by saying that I do not have too much more to add, so that we do not bore, because there's going to be a panel after this. Just to add that the traditional attitude towards dealing with this problem, thank you, ma'am, thank you, Excellency, thank you so much, thank you, ma'am, thank you. The traditional way of dealing with this has been to say it is the fault of the girl. So it has been to say it is the fault of the girl. And from that fault prism, all of us are saying, mothers, keep your children at home. Don't bring them out. Our programs have been directed at that. When you say all of that, what of the circumstances that surround those things? The approach that Betsy Obaseki has used is something we refer to, and I don't want to go into the logics of all of that, it's something we refer to that allows you to look at many dimensions. Basically saying, it's not just about the girl's ability to say, or to restrain and hold back herself. If the child is in abject poverty, tell me how it will happen. The smallest thing you offer somebody in poverty is an inducement to do something she'll probably never have done. So in the end, keep the children going on something with a future, something that presents them with a hope. And with that hope, you can now begin to talk about how you say no to teenage pregnancy. If you tell me to say no to teenage pregnancy when I'm hungry, living in one face you, I face me. First of all, when I live in face me, I face you. My mother has probably 4 other children. The first thing I want to do at the age of 11 is to run away from that house. Because it's just too much. Too many people trying to deal with that space. Have you asked the question why that child walks away from the house and abandons what is in the house? These are the reasons why I said we must begin to think. Where is the model that allows us to navigate the many issues that negotiate or enable us to understand how to deal with the problem of saying no to pregnancies and to child motherhood? In the project that Her Excellency has introduced, there is something we're talking about is actually more serious than this. These are cases of outright abandonment. The man has the pregnancy and walks away. No consequence. I mean, I don't understand a country where you put your pennies has nothing to do with who you are. You know, you just do it and you walk away. And nobody says there's something wrong with that. You end up leaving a child, leaving responsibilities, marrying the career of many people, and walk away, no consequence. I believe our mothers in the South will raise their voices and say that there should be male responsibility when we say there should also be no to teenage pregnancy. It cannot be a one-track direction. It has to be both the women and the men working together. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I was able to make some sense out of all of this. But this is a model, and thank you, our mother, for giving us the model. A lot on data, which I have not talked about. This state has huge mechanisms for generating data. If you want to plan long term, you need data. And Edo State has shown us how to gather the data and how to use the data. There's a lot on technology as well. His Excellency Obaseki has been very strong on the digitalization of the state, and that gives us instruments with which to generate the kinds of information we need for the future. Thank you.
Can we please applaud Ambassador Okoye Toye? Thank you very much for those very incisive words within record time. We will be inviting Iben Keys, a poem that reflects the mood of what we do here shortly as it gets set to come to the microphone. Let me quickly welcome the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Honorable Dr. Joan Osa of Yahweh. We also welcome the Honorable Commissioner for Fiscal Planning, Urban and Regional Development in those states, Honorable Isoke Omo. We welcome Mama Lauda I Fuekwalufora Esquire. Thank you for all that you do. Princess Philomena Iheye, Special Advisor to Mr. Governor, Political. Thank you. And of course, Lady Dr. Felicia Igbase and all the Catholic women that are here in their numbers. Thank you for your presence. We welcome you, Dr. Mosiwe Zedope, Executive Secretary at the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the poem is next. Can we have Eben Keys, please? Otherwise, we move over to dramatically. Please applaud them as it takes the stage. Eben Keys.
Somewhere in this broken world, there is a young man bound to make all of the wrong decisions. Tales too unpleasant even for the ears of a homely priest eager to listen to your confessions. Out there in this dark world, there is a young man with even more darkness in his heart. A victim of all of the wrong circumstances, the result of a terrible start. Out there in this dark world, there is a young man who has come to be known by the name B-O-O-M. Boom. Accurate name in all the sense of the word, always the most explosive in the room, an orchestrator of doom. If evil was a bride, then you have just met the groom. You see, boom, not they ever they go church. Boom, not they ever they go church, but boom by himself now the most high. You see, the kind thing when boom they smoke, they reduce the volume of loud and they make colos taste like vitamin C when just they cause open eye. You see, boom na better bad boy. Boom na bad boy to the core. Boom bad sote, even devil, they come meet time to come learn walk. And by the time he go finish with him, lecture, even devil self go shock, open eye, with absolutely nothing to talk. And on one fateful day, boom don't smoke waiting no good, and all his eye done the red. All his eye done the red like vampire when decide to watch horror movie, immediately gets up from bed. And as a sharp guy when him be, boom waka jam another sharp looking gentleman for one sharp corner, and he sharply tell him, yes, come here. Waiting there for inside that your bag. It's just my phone, my power bank, and my books. I'm on my way to class. Correct guy. Oh yeah, pass me that phone. And then add the power bank join because we know the two get light. Boom thought this was another weak target, but this one was not going to go down without a fight. Bros, which can talk with that now? I mean, because I speak so English. Now me you dey open eye for. Now me them they call boom, and I want to go happen to you very soon. If you don't release that bad wahala, go so sweep you like broom. You see, there was an intense argument that soon led to the genesis of unimaginable darkness, like the beginning of the Old Testament. You see, the young man had a sharp mouth, and boom, unfortunately, had a sharp knife, one that eventually found its way into the belly of the young man. You see, boom don't choke person for belle, and the person don't beme. You see, boom was a miscreant, a thug, a drug addict, and a thief. And boom just got a promotion. For the first time, boom was a killer. But how? How did boom get here? You see, 21 years ago, a 17-year-old orphan girl named Itoha had just been sent to live with her uncle. Itoha had just been sent to live with her uncle, another innocent child about to be forced to fit into this imperfect world, like losing shoes without its buckles. You see, Uncle Osaon paid Itoha's school fees, and unfortunately, Itoha paid Uncle Osaon with her body, raped her repeatedly, again and again till she was no longer just pregnant with her dreams, but unfortunately pregnant with an unwanted baby. And when Mrs. Osaon found out, she accused Itoha of sleeping around and chased her out of the house. Itoha was forced to grow up too fast, and misery became her spouse. Alone, dejected, broken, and battered, Itoha gave birth to a child all by herself. Little Itoha don't become mommy, and she will soon get to be known by the name Mama Boom. See, Boom is actually not just one person, but Boom is a representation of many more. As a matter of fact, Boom, B-O-O-M, are initials that represent born out of misery. You see, just like this Boom, there are so many Booms out there in the society. And today, let us join our voices with that of Her Excellency to say no to teenage pregnancy and child abandonment. Because on the long run, we might not just be saying no to teenage pregnancy alone, but we might just be saying no to another Boom that is about to be birthed. But what if little Itoha was never abandoned? You see, somewhere in this broken world, there is a young man bound to make all of the wrong decisions. Tales too unpleasant, even for the ears of a homely priest eager to listen to your confessions. You see, out there in this world is an innocent child who life can be a lot better for if we could just do better. Thank you very much.
Spectacular Eben Keys, a great son of Edo, that has used poets to impart lives all over the world. Please another round of applause for all the cast. Well, let's very quickly invite the moderator for the next panel's discussants, and I'd like to warmly welcome the Right Honorable Barrister Maria Omozele Deko Esquire, Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, to please come up stage, and she will be moderating together with Ambassador Unkoyo Toyo, a keynote speaker. And to join them will be Professor Friday Okunafwa. Please applaud former Vice Chancellor and a great man of many parts, Reverend Sister Dr. Mary Agatha Osarakoa, EHJ, former Superior General of the Sisters of the EHJ, and a great daughter of Edo. Mr. Kali Alumona, represented by ACN EKF Young. Please applaud of the NDLEA. Dr. Mrs. Stella Idea. And of course, Mrs. Kate Bello. Please applaud all of them. Your attention is required, please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, the best children in the world, we love you. We're going to go straight to the questions. Welcome the panelists, Prof, and all others here. So my first question goes to Professor Okonofwa, Professor of Gynecology and Obstetrics. Prof, sir, could you briefly discuss the causes, consequences, and management of teenage pregnancy? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, my dear Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, he's given me a very big topic, but I will summarize it as follows. The causes of teenage pregnancy. Basically, they can be divided into two groups. The first are intrinsic factors. Intrinsic factors. Intrinsic to the girl. And then secondly, the extrinsic factors. Those are factors that are environmental and are outside the reach of the girl. For the intrinsic factors, it has that sex, which leads to pregnancy, is a biological event. Just as a child is born, and the child learns to eat, learns to pass excreta, learns to walk and crawl, at some point in time, the child becomes sexually active, begins to have sexual feelings. And one of the problems we have had with parents and school teachers in this country is that they never believe that a child will get to that point. Unfortunately, there is what they call sex gate, which means that these days, girls and boys get to learn things about sex from their peers, as well as from the internet. So you cannot run away from that fact that eventually they will hear about sex. And so if for the first time they ever have sex, the gate, that means they crossed that gate and they enter the other side, meaning that they are now sexually active. The truth about it, as gynecologists, we've come to realize that once somebody crosses that gate, it's very difficult to bring the person back without active work. So the first thing is to realize that sex is a biological event, and therefore we should make preparations for when the girl child or the boy child begins to be sexually active. And so that brings us to the point of extrinsic factors. If when a child is growing up, you eat, how to walk, how to wear dresses, it simply means that when the child now becomes sexually active, you must also teach the child what to know about sexual activity and how to avoid the consequences of sexual activity. This is lacking. Most of the time, parents don't remember that that is part of the biological development of children. And so children are often not given that explanation, that education they need. And these days we have sexuality education, which has been in school curricula all over the country. Yet, unfortunately, even in Edo State, I'm aware that only a few schools have accepted that curriculum and are teaching young girls and boys sexuality education. And then, of course, we have all the social pressures that we demonstrated in that last poem that was well shown. The fact that the society is not able to control the lifestyles of boys and girls, and also the fact that we don't make provision. We talked about education being the vaccine against unwanted pregnancy that leads to pregnancy in itself. Most pregnancies in teenagers are often unwanted. So if you educate the child, you put them in school, you are immunizing them against pregnancy. Unfortunately, not all of our girls are in school. That's one. And secondly, after primary school, they often drop out, they don't go out, they are not able to continue secondary school, exposing them to the vicissitudes of life. And recently, I heard news that the federal government intends to make sure that unless you are 18 years, you do not go and do WAEC exam and you probably not enter university. I want to use this forum to say that if that happens, it will increase the rate of teenage pregnancy in this country. And I'm very happy that our very distinguished first ladies are here. It is very important for them not to allow that law, whatever it is, to pass. Because if a girl finishes at, you say she can only do her school set at 18 years of age. At 18 years of age, I can tell you the pass rate of school set is about 50%. And after the 50% of the girls pass, the pass rate for JAMB is about 10 or 20%. It means that the predominant proportion of the girls will be at home, and only God knows what an idle mind will do if the child is at school. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most unprogressive policies I've had this year, and for 20 years, is that policy that says that unless you are 18, you can't do secondary school. And it must not be allowed to continue. Ladies and gentlemen. So I will stop there, because if I continue, I think my colleagues also have other things to say. I would like to say that I would like to stop here while you allow other people to talk. I will come back later if you allow me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. So I want to thank Professor Okonofwa and the NDLA commander is not around, but my sister is here. She gave us a beautiful lecture before Your Excellencies came. I want to thank her again. So, just for the record, for this panel, we'll just say a few words because you've already spoken to the children. Could you discuss the vulnerability of victims of drug abuse to teenage pregnancy and how it can be managed?
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, staff and students. My name is Effiong Claribel from NDLEA. We all know that drug abuse is a menace that had to do with everybody. It cuts across both the old, the young, the rich, the poor, the black, the white. It does not have respect for anybody or any tribe or color. So now the menace is eating up deep into the society. That is why our Chairman Chief Executive, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, came up with what we call WADA program, which is War Against Drug Abuse. He now added up something again we call presently Save Our Family Initiative. This Save Our Family Initiative had to do with what we are talking about today. Saving our children, catching them young at a very tender age. Teaching them what they need to know, how they need to overcome drug abuse outside, how they need not to involve, how to live with their peers outside. We have what we call coping skills, because we cannot run away from the society. This drug, we will see many people that are abusing them everywhere. So because we cannot run away, we have to teach our children how to cope. Because most of these people that are involved in this rape, in all the vices like kidnapping, armed robbery, most of them act under the influence of drugs. Because when they take these drugs, their mind, their heart, their conscience is dreaded. They act irrationally. They see things that are not real. They do things that are not real. And most of these are teenage girls are now involving in substances of abuse. Substances that when they take, they don't know themselves. And they are manhandled by whoever is present there that is in control. That is where they are raped. Sometimes their organs are harvested. Sometimes they go through one series of ordeal or the other. So this Save Our Child initiative had to do with we catching them young, going to sensitize them from, we don't even do the sensitization from secondary school again. From secondary school, we go as low as primary school to see how we can teach them at early stage on how to say no to drug abuse, on how to say yes to life. Because drugs and their career or whatever they want to be, even in sports, are two parallel lines that can never meet. Once you want to indulge in drugs, you drop your career. Once you indulge in drug abuse, you drop your career. So if you want to be your dream to be fulfilled, you don't need to take drugs. Because career and drugs are two parallel lines that can never meet. So we start as young as they are small, teaching them songs that will make them know the parts of their bodies that are private, and how to say to uncles no, to aunties no, even to parents, because some of our parents are even indulged and involved in drug abuse. So children are always watching, imitating what our parents are doing. So now, this initiative, the Chairman Chief Executive have brought out this drug test kits that we parents should be holding and using it to instill fear on our children, both male and female. If a child knows that when he or she indulges in drugs, which will lead him or her to immorality, he knows that the parent, when he comes back or she comes back, the parent will test if that child has taken any substance. Then that child will be scared. That child will be afraid. So this Save Our Children initiative had to do with we getting these drug kits and keeping it at home with us and using it to instill fear in these children. Because on a very normal way, we all have conscience. We all have morals. But once we have taken this drug, it leads us to so many things. Like when they attend parties and they are given so many things to take, which are not supposed to be. Cakes, balloons that they blow, nitroside, they inhale it. As they inhale it, they sleep sometimes for 24 hours. They sleep sometimes for 12 hours. They don't know what happened to them immediately. Then, if they are raped in that circumstance, they will have teenage pregnancy. And when they carry that pregnancy, or they will have either STD or HIV/AIDS, they will contract so many of these sicknesses through that. So now, by the grace of God, this initiative is really working. If every parent can keep it at home, it will help in containing this menace. Once we are able to curtail drug abuse, I think teenage pregnancy and all these abuses will be curtailed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Konufwa, and thank you, Mr. Kalis Alumona. Thank you very much. Now can we go to Dr. Stella Idehi? Doctor, thank you for being part of the panel. As you are aware, there are many legal remedies available to victims of teenage pregnancy and abandonment. Could you just give us an idea of the legal framework, how the legal framework is supportive of what we are trying to achieve, which is basically to reduce the cases of teenage pregnancies and child motherhood?
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. I stand on the existing protocol, and I want to thank our First Lady, our mother of Edo State, for this initiative. I am glad to say that we have laws, and the laws that we have are not just comatose. They are vibrant and they are alive, and they have put in place provisions that can be used to cater for teenage pregnancies and abandonment of children. When we talk about teenagers, I thank the keynote speaker that helped to define a child. That a child is a child until 18 years, and that includes teenagers, right? And so a teenager is but a child. But the circumstances surrounding that teenager is that she's pregnant and she's abandoned as a result of the pregnancy. We have the VAP law that has been passed and amended in 2021 and criminalizes abandonment. If you are abandoned as a teenage child, you can press for abandonment, and you can be rest assured that you can get legal remedy in respect of that. Outside that, we have the Child Rights Act of law of 2007, which was replicated from the Child Rights Act of 2003, and it's applicable in FCT. It's also applicable in Edo State, and that one also enables a child development officer, the government, that realizes that a child is being abandoned or is likely to be abandoned, to apply to court for a protection order for the safety of that child, because the child's interest and that teenager's interest is key at all times. Apart from that, we also have the Criminal Code law of Edo State that also criminalizes abandonment. If you are abandoned, there is a penalty. The VAP law also provides for penalty also, up to 300,000, 3 years, 500,000. Then if you are an accomplice that encourages a parent, a guardian, or the person who that teenager is put under care, he will be liable to go for 1 year imprisonment and a fee of 100,000, depending on the gravity. Both can go together, and so you can see we have laws in place. Our laws also encourage collaboration with the NDLA, with other stakeholders, to ensure that that teenage child is not abandoned, and also protection at all times. The Child's Right and also law says that if a parent or a ward has the means to take care of a child and neglects to do that, the government can go to court to compel that person to contribute towards taking care of that child. These are some of our laws. And why is it that we do not know? Lack of enlightenment. And that is why we're all here. It's very key that this is taken down to the grassroots, so that we have understanding that there are legal remedies There are protection centers, and that child can be rehabilitated. If the child is in a circumstance where the home is not conducive, or as a result of pregnancy, and the parents drive her away, there are places that she can be taken in by government to ensure that she's rehabilitated so that her destiny will not be cut short. And these are but some of the laws that we have. Thank you. Okay, so we have the Director of Child Department here, I believe. Welcome. So the question I have is to ask you, what in terms of these issues of teenage pregnancy, child motherhood, and abandonment, how does your ministry come in, and what do they do?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the Honorable Commissioner, Permanent Secretaries, students, and every stakeholders present. My name is Kate Bello. For my ministry, I'm going to be talking about what we do as a ministry in terms of cases like this. Over the years, I've worked in that ministry and I've had a series of cases of teenage pregnancy and abandonment. I want to quickly make mention of 2 cases I've handled and how the ministry has actually catered for them. Some time ago, a young girl, about 17, walked into my office with a few days old baby. And her request was that she wants to drop the baby with the ministry, after which she's stable, she will come for the baby. But I was surprised and I asked, where are your parents? She said, I was pregnant and I kept it away from my parents. But when I was 7 months, I had to tell them. But immediately I told them, they said I should leave the house. That they are pastors and they will not want a kind of a stigma or shame to be brought to them. I was surprised. And I probed further. And this was a religious body that I cherished so much, and I was shocked. I told the girl, why interviewing this young girl? I told her, give me the contacts of your parents. The boy himself, she actually did. And I put a call across to the father. Said, your daughter is here and she wants to hand over the baby to the ministry, that whenever she's stable enough that she will come. The father said, yes, we don't want her to come to the house with that baby. I'm a pastor. I preach against fornication among young teenagers. And I don't want my daughter, my first child, to come and bring an embarrassment to the family. I was shocked. But the father said, Mother, I told the father, I said, do you want us to take this child in whenever she's stable enough to come? He said, yes. I said, for the father, I said, fine. The father can be, probably is angry at that point in time. I put a call across to the mother. The mother said, Madam, I'm done with childbearing. I don't want to nurse any baby. And if you don't mind, please don't bother to call my line again. I don't need this. I don't want that girl to come to the house with the baby. I was pained. And I told the girl, give me the young boy's number too. She gave it to me and I called the boy. I saw this strange voice in the boy. The boy was shivering like, so you have gone to different places calling people to call me. I don't want this thing. I don't want it. My parents are not aware. My parents are not aware. I can't tell them. My parents they live abroad. I can't tell them what I've done. Please, you are narrating me. Every people are calling me on this. So I told the boy, don't worry, there's a way out. What are your plans for this girl? He said, I don't have any plans for her. I want to go to school. I'm going to school. My parents are, I can't bring that. I can't tell my parents what has happened. And I looked at this whole issue. I was like, the girl told me, said, Auntie, I will come for my son again, but just allow me to drop this child and go back to my parents. And I promised her I will took in the baby. The baby is doing well. She comes around to see the baby. Whenever she comes around, I want to see my baby. She comes to see the baby, and the girl is doing well. And she promised to come for her baby whenever she's stable. A child, be telling your own daughter not to come home with a baby. She should have been the one that girl would have leaned on her head on to receive her. And probably she has done something like that.
There are ways to it. You can. I'm not saying because you are a pastor or a pastor's wife that there are mistakes that can be done. There's a way you encourage her not to do something like that. Or there's a way you talk to the family of the boy and you come to terms. And invariably, if there's a way people wants to bring them off, they will accept the baby. But she refused. I'm still talking and I'm still trying to talk to the mother to accept this child and talk to the father to accept this child. And that is that. And I have another case again, a very recent one. A 14-year-old girl that was raped. She was sent out for something errand at the errand, and a landlord, about 50-something years old man, took her in and raped her. She didn't tell her mom because the man threatened that if you say anything, I'll and the young girl, the mother itself, the issue was as a result of what? Separation. The father is somewhere and the mother is somewhere, trying to get something for themselves. And I canceled the mother. The mother said, this, for us, the environment to me is toxic. That girl cannot remain in that environment. I told the mother, are you willing to leave this environment? I said, my rent will expire by December, and I don't think they will give me, refund my money. Just imagine 2 months to December. I don't think they will refund my money, but I will remain in that environment. When, as soon as my rent is due, I will get a better place for myself. But that girl cannot remain in that place. So we took the girl. What do we do as a ministry? We took the girl in a safe space, like for her to be. She has gone to the clinic. I think the SAC, actually Sexual Assault Referral Center, where our mommy actually has invested a lot. He's doing a lot. They've done a lot of medicals, and in a safe space. And the mother, we've cancelled the mother. The mother said, yes, I want her to be out of this place because of this shame, the stigma. A young girl of 14, what would people say? And I want to tell you, this girl just completed 14 on the 8th of October. What, in fact, so not that she's even 54, on the 8th, few days ago. So it's something that we really need to look at. When this particular issue came on board, I was like, fine. I said, this is the great one. We need to look at this thing very well. Now there's poverty. Young children, young girls, whatever you give to them, they are ready to do anything they want to do. So if parents, and we're also looking at communication. Parents, mothers are really far from their girl child. And not only the girl child, even the boy child. I have this whole idea that there's more concentration on girl child, but for girl child, there's also, we need to channel our concentration on the boy child. There are a lot that is going on. And the boy child, they are the one that will grow up to become somebody that they want to rape a young girl, that they will pregnant teenagers. At 15, you see young 15 years old boy pregnant, they are already dating, they are already communicating with the phones and all that. So these are issues we need to look at. Communication gap. Let us listen to our children, talk to our children, one-on-one. Let them have confidence in us as parents. That little girl became prey because she didn't talk to, there was no communication between she and her mother. The mother leaves the house in the morning, goes to get something for the family, comes in very late. And the mercy of the environment, and you could imagine, I guess that apartment should be face me, I face you apartment, where anything goes can happen to children. And the ministry, we are also doing greatly in that regard. And awareness too, we are also trying to carry out awareness to schools that children should stand up their right, girls should stand up their right and say no to any form of violence or whatever it is from the male folks. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so proud of you, Kate. That is the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, Edo State. Classical example of what they do right at the ministry. Thank you, Director. And I'm also grateful to all the panelists so far. You've done so well. I hope our children, they are listening. You are the reason why Her Excellency has put this program together. Okay? How to protect yourself against teenage pregnancy. Drug abuse. We are blessed again this year. This is divine. Because initially the theme for this year was going to be on drug abuse again. Because drug is ravaging our community. But by divine arrangement, we invited the NDLA and they came here. They displayed these drugs. You can see some there. They look like sweets. The packaging very nice. Selling drugs off the counter on the street for our children. So flee from drug so that you don't become victim of teenage pregnancy and other issues. So straight away, we have Reverend Sister Mary Agatha Osainho, EHJ. Thank you, Sister, for coming. Sister, what is the role of the church in the prevention of teenage pregnancy and support for abandoned victims of teenage pregnancy? Thank you, Sister.
Thank you very much. I warmly greet Your Excellencies, and in particular, our super First Lady of Edo State, considering the works that she's doing for our young people. I greet every one of us here present. I'm delighted to be here because we are talking about life, the lives of our children. And I'm happy that a good number of our children are here. I'm very happy because children, I want to suppose that you are listening, you are hearing, you are having first-hand information of what you need to know so that your lives may not be destroyed. Listening to the young man that rendered the poem, he said, if you had listened very well, he said, boom, not a go church. I heard that very well. Boom, not a go church. Now, the church is our mother. The church is our spiritual mother and also our teacher. We go to church not just to pray alone. Yes, we go to church to pray, to worship God. We also go to church to learn values, virtues that will help us to become the beautiful persons God has created us to be. From the pulpit, the priest communicates, transmits gospel values. Values that we need to be able to live our lives the way we should. Now, what are these values? Prayerfulness, abstinence, chastity, patience, hard work, and so on. If a child is prayerful, if you are prayerful, you will be able to stand on your feet because you will know the right things to be done. You will be inspired on how to live your lives. If you are prayerful as children, and if you imbibe the virtues that are being communicated to you, you will not, expose yourselves to drugs and to other ills. In the church, for example, we have societies. Societies for young people. Young people meet from time to time where they discuss not only spiritual subjects, but they talk about life. They talk about the values that they need to imbibe, to uphold, in order for them to live well, in order for them to be blessings to themselves, to their families, to the society, and to the world at large. The church organizes seminars and workshops, just as we're having now, to educate parents on what they should know. You cannot give what you don't have. We observe that actually parents don't, they don't communicate with their children. They are so, in terms of sexuality, they are reserved. And ignorance is a disease, as we always say. And knowledge is power. So we have seminars and workshops organized for parents where they are empowered, where they learn what they ought to do as parents. And also for young people. In our Catholic schools, for example, our pupils, our students are exposed to the values that they need to have. In imitation of Christ, they are told what life is, the meaning of life, and what it is to enjoy life. Because some of us, unfortunately, offer some good, some bad. But unfortunately, what our young ones are supposed to learn, their parents, they don't learn these things. And they learn from outside, and they are offered the wrong things. The things that are not correct, they are being offered. So in the church, we have societies that help our young ones to, they mentor themselves. They listen to themselves. The good news is that it is more effective when young people challenge themselves. So that is done. We have forums in the Catholic Church where we have these things communicated to the members. Now, to support for abandoned victims, abandonment, we cannot be talking of human beings being abandoned. You can abandon things. If I'm using this pair of shoes and it's no longer good or whatever, I can say, oh, no more. But we cannot abandon human beings. Human beings are sacred, and we must respect their dignity as human beings. So the church is very much aware of the dignity of the state of humans. Listening to her own story about, the father or the mother of a child, the girl, not wanting to receive them back, that is not the right way to go about it. It's true that, well, the child made a mistake, but then we cannot, by rejecting the child, you are rejecting her, and you're also rejecting the baby that she's carrying. There's a case of a girl some years ago, about almost 21 years ago. This girl was pregnant, and she knew she was pregnant. What she did was she ran to the convent, to the sisters' convent, because because she trusted the church. She felt the church would give her hope. And what happened? One of the sisters, this girl was from Enugu, but she went to Lagos for whatever reason. And it was in Lagos that she met with the Reverend sisters. She had to go to the convent. She felt safe. She felt, comfortable going to the sisters. She was not afraid. And she told them she was pregnant, but that she was afraid going back home because, according to her, her parents would kill her. But one of the sisters, took it upon herself and she traveled. She traveled with this girl to Enugu. Enugu is not just like going to Airport Road. She went with her and spoke with the parents, made them to understand why they should accept the girl. And by the grace of God, the girl was accepted back home. And she put to bed, and today, that child is somebody in the society. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, dignitaries here present, our beloved children, I'm sure you've learned a lot today to protect yourself, because you are growing up in a very dangerous environment. During our time, we didn't have these challenges. In between every two houses there is a hotspot where drugs are sold. So some carry them on their head, they say they are selling agbo. So the first ladies, they are here. Those people are not selling agbo, they are selling cocaine and all that, destroying our community. So the lawyer has spoken of legal remedy in case of abandonment. You know that you can seek legal redress. The NDLA have spoken a lot. We thank you. To refrain from drug. And Reverend Sister, she has spoken largely of proper value. And my daughter, Kate, the director from the ministry, if you are challenged, you can go to the ministry. They will give you support. My erudite Professor Okonofua, he has told us about the causes, and we are very grateful, sir. I have my partner here, Nkoyo Toyo. She is the brain behind this team for this year. For the past 4 years, I've chaired this committee. I'm right, Honorable Mrs. Maria Omozeli-Oligbe-Edeko, the Deputy Speaker of the State House of Assembly. I am one of the very fortunate ones that Her Excellency has put her weight behind the women to groom, to nurture. And today, here I am. This is the last edition for this seminar. For now, next year, we'll have another one. But as First Lady of Edo State, this is the last edition. So we are grateful to Her Excellency for touching lives. May the Lord bless her husband, and grant them eternal joy. Thank you everyone for coming for this event. The children, they want to ask few questions. And some already submitted questions. We'll just quickly read them out, give very brief answers. And there's a documentary so that we can get ready for the dinner party for tonight. Thank you, everyone.
So if you have more questions, you can still write them and bring. We have 4 ready for the panelists. And this is coming from Chuku Chidebere Isabella. Is a student of New Era College. And the question is this: how do we know the food or snacks that we are about to consume has been drugged? Or the health or NDA? Then, what is the name of the machine to detect if someone is taking drugs? And where can you find it? And another question: is it only the females that have been raped and their organs harvested? Is it good to go to the hospital to take drugs after being raped? Is it good or bad? So these are the 4 for now. If you have more questions.
Thank you very much. The first question, please, let me answer them one after the other. May I know the first question? Let me start from there.
You know, or the arts robbed.
Okay. Thank you very much. That is why we were talking about family initiative. We want our homes to be home. We want to eat from the house. We don't want to be buying food outside, buying stuffs outside. Even though we can't avoid that, we should buy from a reliable source. Most of the roadside places, they sell things like these concoctions you see. These concoctions that have, that they call monkey tail, people that are hawking them, they mix them with other drugs. So many things are mixed up to get this concoction, and you take it. So many things are mixed up with this concoction. So the people that are carrying this concoction, we think they are selling black currant. They are selling different things with it. So this package, there's the other one there that are packaged in a very attractive form. Those ones with very attractive packages that are like sweets, like cakes, like chewing-gum, like other stuff. They put them inside the basket of these concoctions. They use them Ben 10. You can see children like it, but they are drugs packaged in a very attractive way that will be pleasant to the children. So when buying items, you try and get them from a reliable place, like in the supermarket, not from these people that are hawk, not from these people that are hawk. And people that sell things in school should try as much as possible to scrutinize them, to screen them, to make sure they are not selling things that they shouldn't sell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm asked to talk about what you do when you are raped. The answer is yes. The first place to go to is the hospital. We call them the first responders. They are the first people you go to, because first of all, if you decide that you want to go to court, it is the hospital that will confirm that you are actually raped. It is your word against the person who raped you. So we often teach our doctors and nurses to take a proper history, take photographs to prove that you've been raped. And if possible, we'll take a sample from your private part, which we examine under the microscope to see whether there are spermatozoa, which will be the evidence. We can actually take that further for genetic studies to confirm that that spermatozoa came from the person you say raped you. And you know, somebody who raped you may have sexually transmitted infections like HIV. So it is the role of the doctor and the nurse that will give you drugs to prevent you from having those infections subsequently. They will do some tests to be be sure that you don't already have those infections, and if they confirm that, they will give you drugs to prophylactically to prevent you from having those infections. And then there are also some drugs. If, for example, you are raped, and you are raped at the time you are supposed to be ovulating, there are also some drugs the doctor can give to you to prevent you from getting pregnant. So indeed, the first responders and the people that will be your friends that will follow you to the hospital or follow you to the court, if you have to go to the court, is the hospital. Thank you very much.
I think most of the questions the children are asking has to do with drug. And we are issue of drug, and subsequently we will have a forum where we will talk to other. Okay.
Would like to take so for the
You are the one that cleared the stage.
I feel like you are more manager. That's what I'm saying. Not to cover. I'm not saying don't stand. You can stand, but you can still there.
Oh no. Mario. Tell MC to leave them. Tell your MC to leave. Yes, no. The story not this.
Wonderful pictures for the panelists. And let's quickly welcome Her Excellency Chief Mrs. Titilola Adebusola Adeleke, the First Lady of Osun State. Can you please applaud her? Thank you. And welcome to Edo. We appreciate it. Please another round of applause again for her. Next, want to warmly appreciate our mothers who loves children so much, and they identify with what we are doing here today, mothers of Nigeria. And they would like to also extend their voices, and together they have nominated 3 amongst them to speak. First, I've been asked to invite the Vice Chairman of Governors' Wives Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put your hands together for Her Excellency Tamuno Minemi Makinde, the First Lady of Oyo State. Can you please applaud Her Excellency? That's an amazing mother. Please let the applause be resounding. Thank you, Your Excellency.
I want to thank my sister for giving me this opportunity to speak. Most of you be wondering why I call her sister.
Sorry.
It's not because she's a sister without boundary, but she's the only sister that in the whole Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum that speaks my language. And at home, our houses are like one chair next to each other. So it's not just a sister, we go way, way, way back. It's like the next chair next to you. That's how our houses are. And we always tease our husbands saying 2 brothers marrying 2 sisters. And I think I've attended every one except the last year one. I want to use this opportunity to recognize my sisters here with me. Our very own chair, the founding chair, who is here with us. I want to say, Your Excellency, you're welcome. The chair before now, Her Excellency Relu Bisi, thank you. She's done a lot when it comes to campaign for girls' child, young girls, young adults, and people of your age sitting down here. I want to say thank you for fostering that and handing over the banner for us to run with. And for all the excellencies here, from Bayelsa to Osun to Cross River, represented by a predecessor, my sister, you're welcome. To my darling Akwa Ibom, you're welcome. To all my sisters from the north, my former Osun, present Osun sisters, you're all welcome. And to the main speaker, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate that. It was fast, but it was potent. I want to say thank you. It was very clear. I picked one thing, which is she acknowledged the fact that my sister inched on something that the youth will like, to draw them out of their shell, to understand why drugs and misuse of sex is not good for the coming generation, and to educate them to know that whatever you do today will affect you tomorrow, and the choices you refuse to do today will also affect you tomorrow. And it's important as parents and as caregivers and as sitting sisters, we go home and look back and see how we can prevent the spread of drug use in our society, and understand how they are repackaged to look like energy drinks, juice, and other things, and are being sold on daily basis around us on the streets. in the mini market and in the major market and even in the supermarkets. So I want to say to my sister Obaseki, I pray this vision of yours will not stop. You will keep it on. And I want to thank you for what you've done for the people of Edo State, for your enduring love for the youth and for the mother you've been. I want to say thank you and God bless you.
Another round of applause again for Our Excellency. Thank you very much indeed for that. Let's quickly walk up this microphone quickly. As I quickly welcome the Finance Commissioner Edo, Mrs. Agwele Kalu. Please warmly make her welcome. Next, to give another goodwill message on behalf of the Excellencies will be the First Lady of Bayelsa State, Her Excellency Gloria Dwoye-Diri. Ladies and gentlemen, your hands together for Her Excellency. Can you show her some love?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My darling sisters, Her Excellencies, we are all welcome to Edo State. May I quickly recognize and appreciate all the dignitaries here present. Gentlemen of the press, our beautiful children. I choose to also lend my voice to all the discussants. I want to thank the panelists for doing justice to those topics. On behalf of my sister, I want to thank my sisters. I want to thank our darling sister, the Edo mother, for holding fast and holding on to the end. She started it, she continued with it, and she is ending with it. And I told her, what a beautiful ending. And it's an ending that we will all remember. Edo will always remember her. Our dear sister Betsy, thank you and God bless you. Our darling students, today I want to lend my voice to shout out to you. This is a crucial and critical topic. And like our convener and Sister Ambassador Koyo said, looking up from the north, theirs is early marriage. They don't just keep them like that, they marry them. But looking at our own side, the south, it is pregnant them, abandon them to their fate. And when the representative of the ministry was talking about the two incidences that occurred, you will know that that is exactly, from my sisters from the south, that is the problem that we have. You can imagine a man of God, a pastor and his family saying, because I don't want people to identify me by this mistake of my daughter, take her away, please. I mean, something happened. My uncle, I saw him and he told me about his daughter that got pregnant, and he immediately rejected the girl, asked her to go back to where she came from. That day, fortunately, I met him and he told me about it. I said, Uncle, no, we are not going to do that. Please call back that your daughter. You were a principal. She made a mistake and you want to throw her with the child and the bathwater. Please call her back. Yesterday when I saw him, he said, because you said so, I brought back my daughter. She just delivered. It's in the house now. I said, Uncle, it's not over. Our next agenda is going to be alternative high school for the girl child. By the time we finish fighting this menace that is eating up our girl children, we are going to be giving them another chance, which we will call the second chance school. Where these dropouts, these abandoned children or girls that my father will always say, permit me to use my dialect, oh yeah, I don't, that is, I'm angry with poverty. I am angry. When you are angry, you must make a move. And so, dear children, dear students here present, the girl children, please tell yourself, nothing will stop me and I will stop at nothing. I must forge on. Even though you make a mistake, tell daddy, tell your mommy, this mistake is a mistake. I will not fall. I will not remain where I fall. I must push on. If you can only say this to yourself, then you'll be very far from this poverty circle. You will not continue the circle all over again. And to our boys, we are not neglecting you. Of course, these girls we are all concentrating our attentions on. We are not trying to remodel them for another person. It is for you, the boy child. And so we want the good you to stand out. And so even of the states or however, we are not mentioning you too much. The reason is this. The boy child has been given his place, a pride of place. For long, it is now we are struggling for the girl to take her place. Stereotypes in the society have overtaken the girl child's predominance in her home. From the home, the mother tells you, you know you are a boy, or you just go fill bottle. The girl stays down, she wash plate, she go to market. You know why we are concentrating on the girl child? Because for long she's been abandoned. And so today, I believe you're going back home with something. I believe you're going to say no when no is the answer. I believe you're going to stand up to say no, even though I'm a girl child, I cannot be limited. I believe you're going back to say, our first lady has stirred up something in me, and so I'm going to remain and stand up and let this light shine. And to all my sisters from the South, it is the same battle we are going to be facing. I want us to take it out because I, for one, I have started. Let us go ahead and deliver, support, stand with our girl child, and we'll get the best from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can that applause be resuscitated, please? Thank you very much. We next will invite to also give a goodwill message. In fact, she was former South Governor's Wives Forum Chair, former First Lady of Imo State. Can you put your hands together for Lolo Nioma Okorocha as she comes? Can that love be sustained with applause? Thank you, Your Excellency.
My sister, our host, and of course the founder of this wonderful initiative. Your Excellencies, my sisters beyond boundaries, and of course sisters from the north, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I actually want to say to the students out there, students, are you there? The future governors, the future first ladies, the future presidents, the future senators. And may I have you all standing just for 1 minute so that you can hear me loud and clear. All the students, please be on your feet. I want to say to you that your life, your future, your destiny is in your hand. And the first point of saying no to teenage pregnancy is you. Are you hearing me? Gone are those days where we look at our children, we say they are still small children. In fact, there is no more small child except the one you are carrying in your tummy. The one that is sucking breast is already aware of what is happening in his or her environment. So you need to know that your life is in your hand. You need to be able to create your own future, your own destiny. You need to see your future. While the government, like our dear sister, is doing what she's doing and still to do, because I know her. Even after this government, knowing Her Excellency, she will still carry on this crusade. But I want to say to you that you must begin to see what you want to be. You need to see. If you can't see it, you cannot have it. So being able to overcome this idea of having being pregnant at a very teenage stage, it is you. You can say no. The government will do what they will do. Her Excellency have done what God has told her to do, and still doing it. I can see the fire in her. And knowing her, whether in government or out of government, she still carrying this fire burning. That's who she is, and that's who she has called to be. So I want to say to you students, please just know that the future of Nigeria that we are all believing God for, it is you. So you are the first person that will say no to teenage pregnancy, and you are the first person that will say you will not abandon yourself. Because for you to be abandoned means that you will abandon yourself, and know that you have what it takes to be that person that you want to be. God bless you, and we keep fighting on. Thank you.
That is very motivational. Can you applaud her again? A mother indeed. And next, ladies and gentlemen, to sum up all the messages from our delectable first ladies, I have the honor to invite another mother, immediate past chair of the Nigerian Governor's Wives Forum, and former First Lady of Ekiti State, Erelu Bisi Adeleke Fayemi. Adeneye, please applaud her. Fayemi, please put your hands together for that. That's amazing. That's amazing. DJ, let the music play. Hey! Are you ready to rock with your mother? Now she's going up, and you know you can dance very well as a young girl. Come up quickly, 5 of you. Are you sure? Quickly, where are they? Run forward, run forward. She wants to make this historical. Who is rocking with excellence? Where are the good girls? Oh, clap on stage quickly. Let's do this for 3 minutes. Hey! Very easy to see a mother indeed. Are you not lucky? The former First Lady and incoming First Lady in the future. Thank you very much. Your hands together for them.
How many of you are Davido fans? And it helps that we have Davido's auntie in the house. One of Davido's mummies is in the house. Her Excellency Mrs. Titi Adeleke, First Lady of Osun State. Okay, now you can sit down. I made a special request for that song. Because if you don't remember anything else you have heard today, just remember the song, I'm unavailable. Or are you available for nonsense? Are you available for teenage pregnancy? Are you available to eventually end up on the roadside selling eggs and bread and oranges? And the boy who got you pregnant goes on to become doctor, engineer, minister, governor. And then, God forbid, one day they will drive past you on the road while you are there frying plantain and dundu. God forbid. Yes? Your Excellencies, top government officials of Edo State, our children, and our gracious hostess, my dear sister, the Betsy herself, Her Excellency Betsy Obaseki. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. What I would like to add to this very rich conversation this afternoon, and thank you to all the keynote speaker, my dear sister, Ambassador Nkoyotoyo, my friend of many years, my big brother and friend and mentor, Professor Friday Konofa, and all the distinguished discussants. What I'd like to add to this very rich conversation is the fact that we need to understand that this is not a South-South issue. it is not a Southern Nigeria issue. It is a Nigerian issue. Issues of sexual and gender-based violence, issues of drug abuse, issues of teenage pregnancies are a national crisis. And it's a great thing that we have some of our sisters here from northern states who can testify to that. The way the issues manifest in different states, might vary, but this is a national issue. And so I'd like to appeal to all of us, to my sisters here, current First Ladies, former First Ladies, let us bear this in mind as we take this message forward. The other point I would like to make is the need for institutional strengthening. Your Excellency, Betsy Obaseki, you have done well for Edo State. And I know that before you finish your term, there are other things you are still going to do right up to the last day, you and your husband. You have sisters here today who have served their states for 8 years and have worked extremely hard, and now they are resting. And then we have those who are still in office who, by the grace of God, will spend 8 years in office. This work is not easy. But if we don't have strong institutions to ensure that the work continues, all the work we do is going to be jettisoned by political interests. The work that Her Excellency Betsy Obaseki has managed to do here over the past couple of years is not just a project for Mrs. Obaseki, it's a project for the Edo State people. And so, how many of us here are from the civil service? The civil service. I'd like to appeal to you to please bear this in mind. And as you go into transition with the next administration, I don't want to know whether it is PDP, APC. Please bear it in mind that these are issues that we need strong institutions to deal with. Our ministries of women affairs, our ministries of health, our ministries of education, and strong political will from whoever the leadership of the state is. Because without that, all this work cannot be sustainable. My dear sister, congratulations on finishing strong. I wish you all the very best. And to my children out there, remember, are you available? May you continue to be unavailable for nonsense, and may you continue to be available for all the good things in life. God bless you all.
Can we once again appreciate Her Excellency Erelu PC Adeleye Fayemi? Please applaud her, a mother in a million. Thank you so much. And this will remain very fresh in the memories of our children. And on this very happy note, the Excellencies are rocking unavailable for abandonment and teenage pregnancy. Thank you, DJ. Well, next, we'd like you to watch a short documentary. It's about 8 minutes. And after that, the vote of thanks and closing formalities it will be. The documentary quickly, please.
In Nigeria, teenage pregnancy is not just a statistic. It is a stark reality for thousands of young girls. For many, becoming a mother before the age of 18 means a loss of childhood, education, and opportunity. This is the story of teenage mothers in Nigeria. Their struggles, their dreams, and the urgent need for solutions. Teenage pregnancy is a pressing issue in Nigeria, particularly in rural communities where access to education and healthcare is limited. Many young girls are forced into early motherhood due to lack of sexual education, poverty, or cultural norms. These teenage mothers often come from vulnerable backgrounds where access to proper healthcare and education is scarce. For many, the consequences of early pregnancy are severe.
When I found out I'm pregnant, I feel so bad. My dream, I cannot meet up.
In my mind, I was thinking, because I'm not done with my education yet. So I'm a mother by this age, so I'm not supposed to be a mother.
I wanted to become a caterer.
I wanted to attend nursing school.
Early pregnancy affects the girl's education in tremendous ways. The sad thing is that a boy and a girl, or a man and they get involved in sexual activities and the girl gets pregnant. The boy continues to go to school and the girl drops out of school. We have had cases where girls are expelled from school because they get pregnant, while the boy who impregnated her is in that school and he's not sent away. So for most girls, pregnancy marks the end of their education. For most girls, pregnancy marks the end of their future, the end of their careers in life. For most girls, of course, we know they never come out of pregnancy. We had a case of a 13-year-old girl who was impregnated by her choir master. She was to give birth, and they took her to a traditional birth attendant, despite efforts we made to ensure she registered at General Hospital so that she can go to CS and all of that. But they felt cesarean section is not a good thing, and they took her to a traditional birth attendant, and she pushed out the first baby and pushed out the second baby, who died, and she died.
The emotional toll on teenage mothers are immense. Isolation, stigma, and financial hardship add to the burden. Beyond the emotional challenges, teenage pregnancies come with significant health risk. Antenatal complications, mortality, and socioeconomic disadvantage.
I've seen, young girls as young as 13 years getting pregnant. 13 years is still, too small to be pregnant. Sometimes once a young lady gets pregnant early in life, it might be so difficult for such a lady to catch up in life. And then if you don't have good educational background, it might be difficult for you to have a good job in future. That some of them, when they are pregnant, they come down with anemia. Some of them come down with problem of high blood pressure. Some of them actually start fitting.
Children born to teenage mothers often face higher rate of health problems, physical injury, behavioral difficulties, and educational underachievement.
Teenage pregnancies are highest because teenage girls are themselves in the process of development. They are not fully developed, their bone structure is not that strong, their pelvis is not that strong, plus the deficiencies of vitamins and iron is rampant. So in case these young girls become pregnant, the chances of having a very healthy baby will be on the lower side. The complications can be high if you are a teenage mother. The chances that you will develop that pregnancy-induced hypertension or the blood pressure in pregnancy is very high. The baby's growth can be poor. The birth weight of the baby can be on the lower side. The chances that you will have anemia or low blood count can be really high. And during labor also, the complication rate will be higher because it might be difficult for you to deliver through normal route, and it might be difficult to go through the process of labor because you are yourself not that mature as far as the pain tolerance is concerned. So it is very important to have a healthy baby. You should yourself be of adequate age before you plan your pregnancy. Otherwise, please use precautions.
The socioeconomic impact of teenage pregnancy extends far beyond the individual. Many young mothers are forced to drop out of school, limiting their future prospects and trapping them in cycles of poverty.
Are you happy or staying here selling food?
I'm not happy.
Why?
Because I'm supposed to be in school. I'm not selling in the shop. No, I don't want to work in the shop for the future. That is not what I planned for myself.
Without education, these young mothers are often left with limited job opportunities, perpetuating a cycle of poverty that affects not just them, but their children. Research shows that teenage pregnancy rates vary significantly across Nigeria. The socioeconomically disadvantaged northern states have higher rates, while southern states have relatively lower rates but experienced increase over time.
A lot of young people are not aware, they're not educated, they're not taught sexuality education. For instance, a real life story, 12-year-old girl went to meet her mother. She heard the word sex and went to meet her mother, and the mother gave her the beating of her life. And then she went to a neighbor who's a man and asked the meaning of sex. And then by the time the man finished telling her the story or the meaning of sex, she got pregnant. Real life story. So parents do not educate their children about their sexuality. They do not tell them about their reproductive health. They do not tell them about puberty. They do not tell them about the consequences of sex and all of that. Even in schools, family health education is not taught. Sexuality education is not taught. Sex education is not taught. Most teenagers are not aware that certain actions that they take can lead to pregnancy. So those are actually issues. The issues of teenage pregnancy are prevalent in all the communities, especially in the rural communities. And in many places, it looks like it's normal for teenagers to get pregnant. It looks like it's normal for girls who have attained the age of puberty to get pregnant and start procreating. And they see it as normal, and most of the time they just continue procreating from 1 to 2 to 3. And of course, in Bechebe communities of Obaliko, we know about the money marriage issue where girls actually are given out in marriage early in life. And of course, even before they become teenagers, by the time they are teenagers, they already have 2, 3. As teenagers, they have 5 children and so on. And of course, the issue of sexual reproductive health and rights. Should teenagers not having access to contraceptives, those are all things that can contribute to teenage pregnancy.
Designing policies and programs considering spatiotemporal patterns and subgroup disparities is vital. Improving access to education, healthcare, and economic empowerment can reduce teenage pregnancy rates. In this regard, Edo State is already on the right track as the government is taking active steps to address teenage pregnancy.
Every year, as we organize this tournament, we seek to address a social vice that affects our women and girls. In the first year, we addressed the issue of girl-child education. In the second year, it was a fight against drug abuse. And this year, we are focusing on gender-based violence, and we are saying no to gender-based violence. We are saying stop gender-based violence.
Governor Betsy Obaseki has prioritized education and healthcare reforms, integrating technology into these sectors to create a safer environment for young girls.
It is true that we have made tremendous progress in digital transformation. It is also true that Edo State is the very first state, and only state still, to have laid over 2,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables across the state. We're connecting the 18 local government areas of our state, we're connecting public health centers, we're connecting schools, we're connecting government infrastructure, so that we can lay foundations for a smart city in the future where we're leveraging on innovation, invention, and technology to open up the urban environment and the rural environment to ensure we're creating value and prosperity for our people.
The fight against teenage pregnancy requires a multifaceted approach. Education, healthcare, technology, and community support must all come together to empower young girls, providing them with the knowledge and tools they need to break free from the cycle of early motherhood. Governor Obaseki's administration has implemented several technology-based initiatives in Edo State aimed at curbing teenage pregnancy and improving the lives of young girls. These include education through technology. The Edo Best program uses digital tools to enhance education, particularly for young girls, ensuring they have access to knowledge about reproductive health. Digital healthcare access. Mobile health platforms and telemedicine services provide teenagers with confidential access to sexual health education, counseling, and contraceptive services. Youth Empowerment Programs. The Edo Innovation Hub offers young people training in digital skills, helping them build futures that go beyond motherhood. If these approaches are adopted nationwide, they could have a profound impact on reducing teenage pregnancies across Nigeria by improving access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities for young girls across Nigeria. The battle against teenage pregnancy continues, but with collective action, there is hope. When girls are empowered with knowledge and opportunity, they can rewrite their futures.
Invite a permanent secretary, Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, Mrs. Barbara Sobanjo, to move the vote of thanks. Your hands together for her, please.
Yes. Good evening, Your Excellencies. We have finally come to the end of the last Betsy Obaseki football tournament program. I want to thank our First Lady, the mother of our state, especially for all that she has done for this state. Ma'am, you have raised the bar. You have indeed raised the bar. What you have done in Edo State, we really cannot mention. From your violence against children program, to the GBVMC, GBVTWG, the film Will Not Be Silent, the football tournament, in fact, so many other programs. This is a vote of thanks, but we just want to express what Edo State, what the people of Edo State sincerely want to say, and that's to say, thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you, USA, thank you so much. We are hoping and we believe that even after your tenure, we're going to continue the good works you started. You have challenged us individually, as ministries and as organizations, so we're not going to let you down. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Your Excellencies, for being her support over the years. You have done much, so much more than sisters could do. Thank you so very much. May God bless you as you travel back to your various destinations. Thank you, distinguished guests, our commissioners. I want to thank the representative of Professor Salami. Thank you for coming. Thank you, every one of you, for all that you have done in one way or the other, supporting our program, supporting Edo State, and above all, I hope you know that as First Lady, as this tenure winds up, that in your own spaces, she has taught us to make a difference wherever we are. Thank you again for the gift of you to Edo State. God bless you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this seminar of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. The closing formalities is now. We'll take just one stanzas each of the national anthem and the Edo anthem. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, shall we please rise?
ancient city is calling all arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers of labor and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. You allow them to leave before the rest of us. We'll have a group photograph with all the Your Excellencies, so we'll relocate to the podium. So DJ, music. The Petra James will say what it
You will move your camera. That's how you work.